What's up, guys? These sides here, back with another video. So in this video, I'm gonna be back in HEXWARS, which is a board game project I started a while ago. You can go check that video out. It'll be in the description. But basically, for this video, I'm gonna be adding two new races, Elves and Dwarves, and both of them are going to have unique cards and abilities that sets them apart. So right now, I'm just making the elf cards and editing them. So the elves' special ability or unique properties is that they are pretty much going to have cards that are much more adaptable and can change to have different stats like more defense, more speed, or more attack based on the circumstance. And now I am just making the dwarf cards, and the dwarves are going to be more on the extremes, like much higher attack, but low defense or high defense, low speed, more of the extremes. And just making their card icons and setting them up, making them unique. And now finally making their little pieces, or the little tote playing pieces, I guess, that are actually going to be on the board, which the elves are going to be green, and the dwarves are going to be gray, because that's just traditional dwarf color. And just aligning the dwarves. And one last thing is I just have to make the different icons, like for the back of the cards, I'll explain later, and for the elf special things. I move on to cutting out the cards, and then the defenses, the wall types. Next, I just cut out the things, or the pieces of the elf pieces and the dwarf pieces. Go through that pretty quickly. Next, I am on to folding the walls into the triangles and the other ones over to make it two-sided. Now I'm on to cutting out the extra hexagons I printed out for both, because elves and dwarves use a lot of hexagons, or wood and stone. I added more wood and stone to make it more even for them. And I use a knife and a ruler to cut this out and finish it off with some scissors. It took longer than I would have expected this to. This is always my least favorite part in making the process, to just cut things out with a knife. Something about it. And then I add the different forest symbols to it. Now I'm on to the things that are going on the back of each card to show like what race can use that card, which I'll later glue. But just cutting all of these out, which can be put on there. Finishing up with the dwarfs. Now I just quickly sort them out into the piles and then start gluing them on. For the new cards I made, I had forgotten that there wasn't on the blue paper, so I had to go back. And I glue all of them, and the multiple symbols. I got the paper. I took all of them off, glued them to the paper, then cut it out, and then I had to re-glue all the symbols back on. It wasn't the best idea. I just forgotten about it, so. Okay, for some of the rules of the game, so, each of the two players pick a race, and they get the cards for their respective race, either the humans, elves, or dwarves. And you can tell which cards belong to which race by checking on the symbols on the back of each of the races to determine both dwarf cards, elves cards, and humans cards, minus the worker. So for both players would pick a race. For the sake of the video about elves and dwarves, we're going to pick dwarves and elves. So setup is very similar with their general, or for the dwarves, the king being placed and placing two workers around it, and the second player getting some extra resources. So I will quickly set that up and get back to you.
Okay, now that I have just set up the board with the generals and workers in the basic formation, which I didn't really need to do that, but just for the setup of the game, it's just normal rules except for the unique pieces of each race. So I guess I'll just by generally going over some of them. I'll start with the elves because I think they're a bit more interesting. So the elves' unique thing is having the different spirits of each animal, as I like calling them, with there being each forest tile having a unique spirit. So that's a bear, the deer, and the porcupine, each having one of the attributes, with the deer having extra speed, the bear strength, and the porcupine defense. So the elves can make any of the units that are not covered, but when they make the spearmans, they can just place it down, and they can build it anywhere where there's a worker like normal. But in order, if they want to upgrade it, they can spend one of their actions on making it have the spirit of whatever woods it's in. So I can spend one of my action points to change that spearman to the spirit of the bear because it's in there. And I can keep changing the spirits around if I like. If I move it over here, and then I can change it just depending on the situation of the game, which is, I think, pretty interesting idea. Next, for the lumberjack, which just collects twice as many wood in forest, so pretty simple. For the dwarven units, nothing too complicated there, except for armed workers be able to fight back and mine resources, and that their king is actually a very decent unit, being comparable to a human's knight. And for the fortress, I didn't go over this too much, but it's just this little piece of cardboard right here. So any space where one of their workers is in, say this one right here, you just put the cardboard piece right there and add it right on top. And it adds an extra 2 defense to all the pieces on top of it. So, yeah. And, yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, now that we're at the end of the video, I'm just quickly making the board game box because it outgrew the old one, just because there's more pieces to be divided. But I'd like to thank you for watching it all the way to the end of this video. It helps out a lot. And if you could consider subscribing, that'd also be nice. But anyway, C Slides out.